This bit. Whoa. Oh my goodness. All right. This video is made for adult collectors because apparently I can't speak. So you know that Dino Emperor thing I looked at a little while back? The big truck from Mini Force that had a trailer that was so big it could fit Armada Optimus Prime in it very nicely. Well, this is huge, right? However, it's still smaller than just the cab of friggin' Dino Emperor. This thing's enormous. This is one sick-ass robot design. It's so badass. I like the original Heavy Irons design, but this, they turned up the detail and sharpness filters and made this thing. Okay, it's a lot more complicated than that when it comes to designing something, but you get the gist. Metal Cardbot's Heavy Iron W is like a masterpiece, quote-unquote, figure for a Metal Cardbot. It's like looking at this to this. You got this to this. All you get is a JPEG. I don't actually own the original Heavy Iron. The level of detail and color on this thing is amazing. There is one massive build quality issue though that I have to address like right off the bat. The neck ball joint. It likes to snap. So the head comes really tight out of the box, and I've had a friend who snapped his immediately, not to mention I've been told by others that theirs snapped immediately too. Mine's tight as well. I can rotate the head if I shimmy it around a bit, but I need to fix it, though I can't quite get the head off and I don't want to break it. That's like the biggest thing to be careful of though. Everything else build quality wise is fine to me. It's very detailed. I've heard a couple of people say it's a bit over detailed, like Bayverse Metal Cardbot type thing, but I like the detailing on this thing. With a lot of color separation being parts, not paint, which is a usual thing for Metal Cardbots. The thing that really sells me on this design though are these shoulder pauldron thingies. Whatever these are, I love the way they look. I still haven't seen the show yet, so I don't know if they do anything in the animation, but they really add a lot to the silhouette and flair of this design. I like the little bits of chrome gold spruced throughout this guy in the legs, knees, crotch, and small portions of the arms. He does have a bit of back kibble hanging off his ass, a bit of dump in the trunk, but it doesn't really get in the way of a lot of stuff, which is nice. It can move itself out of its own way. He is a bit awkward to move around though. The bits on the back of the legs don't peg into anything, and his joints have a tiny bit of play in between each teeth of the ratchets. His sword can become a gun. I repeat, the big giant robot sword can become a friggin' gun. That's so badass. He is heavy iron. Ha! Like, this plastic is dense and weighty. The feel of it again is a bit glossier than I would like. It makes the whole figure feel a tad bit slippery, which isn't fun when messing with it, but otherwise the rest of the build quality is fine. Like, the plastic is very dense and weighty. It just, on the surface, I'm not used to it. It feels weird. Head sculpt is lovely. I like the battle mask in the ears with the red crest and the blue gem in the forehead. He does have optional eyes, but that's for a mode we'll get to later. I love how the smokestacks become shoulder cannons. Kind of reminds me of like Vulcans on a Gundam's head, or like the chain guns on Nitro's shoulders. There is a subtle dragon motif throughout this, and that's because he comes with this brick thingy. Again, every Metal Cardbot brick thing goes nowhere, and it also is not as clean as some of the other bricks, but taking the card off and then disassembling the whole thing leads you to this assortment of bits and bobs. And what the hell do these do? Well, you can decorate the figure with all these pieces, giving him some more flash and flare throughout, and then lifting the head up to flip the eyes around to make this configuration. I don't know what the significance of this mode is, but it looks cool. Not that much has changed other than some bits on the upper body, but these bits on the lower legs like to flare out, and I don't know why, but I like to flare them out because it changes the lower legs a bit. You also now have two massive rail guns on the side of the arms. Oh, so that's what these are for. Not gonna lie, when I first read the instructions, I completely missed this part. Okay, that's what they're here for. That's just me being big dum-dum. The extra sword bit can also come off and become a second, well, sword for this guy, and that's just badass. This configuration with the guns down on the arms on the side, I think is my favorite. That's how I'm gonna display this thing. And the articulation. Being this massive and this expensive, you would expect it to be pretty well articulated, and you're right, mostly. B+ for your efforts, I guess. There is a lot here, but just due to the sheer size and heft of this figure and how the joints don't quite feel as solid as I'd like, and the feet don't move forward that far, he can be a bit awkward to get into a dynamic pose. It can be done, it just takes a lot more work to get him there. It's like trying to pose a combiner. So similar to what I would still consider is the best Metal Cardbot figure, Taki, there's a lot of articulation in here, but unlike Taki, this weighs about 3 times as much. So he can't really take advantage of a lot of those joints properly because of his weight. And like, I do wish the feet had more range, and I wish the heels were bigger and stuff, but we'll get to that. So as you are now well aware, because I've mentioned it I think 3 or 4 times, the head is on a ball joint, but I'm not going to move it because it's going to break. I have to shimmy it to move it around, and I really don't feel like doing that right now, but he can tilt, look up and down, and you have that plate that you can get that can help him look up a bit better. I forgot to switch the eyes, but it is stiff and it is a tiny little peg, but it is again a ball that goes into the torso rather than in the head. That's just how metal Cardbot does it. The shoulders, there's a lot going on in here. So you have this rotation and this piece right here. So this can rotate left and right, this can go up and down, and this can rotate as well. So this whole assembly here can get out of the way of the shoulder movement. And you have a little flap right here that moves up. So the shoulder inside goes about that far, but then you have this joint right here, so you can get the arm to go up even higher, which I do like how they gave you that joint, because honestly, I kind of would have expected them to just do this, and this isn't necessary for the transformation, so I do like that it's there. You get a full 360 degrees at the shoulder as well. You've got a bicep rotation. Now it looks like a double jointed elbow, but it is only a single jointed elbow that bends 90 degrees, and it has 2 clicks, 1, 2, but you can kind of like cheat them, so that's fine. But I do wish it bent right here as well. Like it looks like it's supposed to, but it just, you can't pull it, and it doesn't. He does, however, have wrist rotation, which is nice. There is a waist joint, but it's being stopped by the butt flap. So the butt flap here has these 2 little bits that stick out. You can rotate them that way to get them out of the way. And now you can take advantage of the ratcheted waist swivel. There is no ab crunch, unfortunately, which would have been nice, but given how this entire top assembly here is a whole separate piece that has to clonk in, I get it. The hip skirts, they can move out of the way to accommodate the legs, and the butt flap can move. So the legs, they can go forward that far, they can go back that far, they can go out, you can do a full splits. You have your thigh rotation as well. There goes that piece. The knees are really high up. They're in here. I thought they would be in here, but no, they're up here. So you get 90 degrees of bend, but it kind of doesn't really, like, it doesn't really accomplish much. Like, there's fully straight, and there's the leg all the way up with the knee bent. I really wish the knees were lower, not up here. Also with the hip skirts. So when you move these up, right, because of all the detail on them, it blocks the waist joint. So you have to go down, move the butt flap bit out of the way, rotate this, but then the hip skirt only goes up about that far. Now, thankfully, you don't need the hip skirts to move that far to get the leg out quite a bit, so it's not really that much of a bother, but it is worth noting. It's warm outside now, so I'm actually like sweating trying to pose this thing. I'm also underneath studio lights. The feet, they can ankle rock, right? The toes can go down, but then the feet can go forward a little bit and they can go back a little bit, 1 click each. So I do like that. I just wish that the heels were bigger, because there's a lot of weight back here with this, and then up here as well. So he tends to lean. You can't really tell because of the giant shoulder spikes, but he is leaning backwards ever so slightly. Like, that should be straight, and that's him leaning. And it's because there's like so much weight back here. But other than that, the articulation on this thing is nuts. Even for something like, for something this big, it's really cool. I just wish the ratchets were a little stronger and he had heels. This thing is massive, and he has a massive transformation to boot. It is a wee bit awkward to get into his alt mode. There are a lot of panels and shifting for the trailer mode, not to mention some pegs that are really tight. It's not a terrible transformation by any means, it's just a tiny bit awkward. There are some things with the instructions that aren't great, that they just don't tell you exactly how to do certain parts of this properly, because there are like weird things like removing this or getting the arms to splay out in such a strange way that the instructions aren't super clear on. That mixed with the awkwardness of the lower legs make the transformation a wee bit annoying to do, but it's still pretty interesting. We do need this. So to start with, you want to remove the cab. Now, removing the cab is hard because it's 2 little spring clips that clip into this part here. So they push in and then they come out and click out. And taking this out, just like ripping this, the first time I got this, I ripped the cab out so hard that it flew out of my hand, hit my monitor, and hit the floor, and this chest plate, the glue around here came off, and the chest plate came off. That's my fault for not doing it properly, but also the instructions not being clear. The best way I've found is to take this piece right here and bend it forward. And when you do that, it's gonna push on the top here and leverage it out. It's so much easier than just ripping it out. Here's those little spring clips I was talking about. So the cab section, transforming this is quite fun. So you want to start by taking this piece here and just bringing that out on both sides, folding this down. There's the grill. Then you want to take this back section, rotate it 180 degrees and fold it down. Take the head and bring it back on the panel, not on the ball joint. Flip that section forward, close the ears up. Fold the head in, close that up. It doesn't click into place, it just sort of sits there, but you know, it sits there. You bring the smokestacks up, then you want to take these side sections here, bring them around. That will clip into place and hold this entire assembly in. And then for extra stability, these come in and tab into the sides too. You bring that around and that will peg into the side and into the side of the truck. And there you have your Make Toys looking cab. This is where the awkwardness starts. So the first thing we're going to do is bring these out of the way. And then you want to open up these panels on the side of the arms and fold up the fists on both sides. Then you want to make the arms straight. Now you want to shift them this way, inside the shoulders. So what you do is you grab it like right here and then just push. And it will come out and clip into place here. It feels a little aggressive, but you're not gonna break it. It just comes out and stays like that. The instructions weren't, this just took a shelf dive. The instructions weren't the clearest on that, but that's how you do that part. Then you want to bring these sections around to the back. Now we're gonna fold in the knee pads, rotate the thigh swivels forward, and make sure that the feet are straight. Because we're gonna lie them down. You wanna take the sword and you wanna fold the section down. That's the trailer hitch. Oh, I should not have done shoulders this morning. So you take this and it's going to peg into the foot and the lower leg, and then you straighten out the legs and get this all pegged together. The legs will clip together as well as pegging in around the sword. Then you fold the toes down, compress, there we go. Compress that down like that, and the sword will just sort of sit in a cavity on his crotch there. And that is the front of the trailer ready to go. Whew. You want to then take this piece here and rotate it up on both sides, and it will peg together like that, and then you can straighten this out. These sections are going to peg into the shoulders and into the lower arms, but you have to make sure the rail guns are slid away. So you bring that in, it's gonna clip in and then peg into the arm on both sides like that. Actually, before we do that, I'm forgetting a step. These panels need to come up. Then you can do this, because if you don't do that, then you can't peg these sections in. So you wanna take this piece and peg it into that side, and then peg it into this side like that. Make sure everything's nice and squeezed together. Then you bring this section up and over, and this is gonna clip together, and this will fold out like that, and then down. It's on a double hinge, so you wanna make sure it's flat here. You wanna take this piece and make sure it clips into place, but before we do that, you wanna rotate these sections around. Now these need to sit on the outside of this little black piece here. So you bring this down, it will peg into place, but you wanna make sure it sits flush on the outside. Then you bring this piece down, it's going to come over here and peg into the shoulder pads, and you fold these bits in. Make sure this is all sitting straight. You bring this section down, close it up around all the little trailer bits, rotate the wheels, and that's your trailer. Then you get your truck and plonk it on top. Ta-da! I'm tired. This looks like if old Make Toys made this. Like, the cab looks so much like that Blue Striker Manus from years ago. It's also enormous, Star Optimus Prime big, but not as big as this thing still. Oh God, it's so, I have no place to put this. It just lives on the floor. It is mostly trailer, and those panel flaps were a wee bit tiresome to get pegged together, but it looks cool. I love how the trailer flares up at the back, making it kind of feel like a pseudo spoiler or something. I don't know how trucks this size work, but it is a pretty epic trailer. I love all the vent detail and that very much Optimus Prime trailer stripe they've got on the side. I also adore the bits of gold down the side too, and the pops of red up front, and then the dark blue truck. It's just the whole color scheme of this just works at popping those small bits of color out on that sea of gray. The rims are chromed, which looks great with all the riveting and the bolts on them. It makes them look very real. The eyes on the truck aren't super bothersome this time. They look like they fit and aren't actually eyes, more so just detail. I like the door detail in the back, but the rest of the back is just a tiny bit messy. This is just a massive ass brick. You could legit build a house with one of these things, or you could probably break glass with it. Oh wow. I was expecting that to shatter. What if I put it this way? Just hit it like this. And stop rolling around. What if I did it this way? Will that work? No, I'm not damaging the toy at all. This is so weird. I thought this would just break. What is this made out of? One more try. No, okay. I guess it can't break glass. All it can do is scuff it. I spent $1.50 on this gag and it didn't even work. The trailer doesn't store anything. It's all legs and arms, so there's no room unlike Power Master Optimus Prime, but it's not bad. I do like this thing a lot, and I really wish there was an easier way to get this over here in North America. I had to import this on eBay, and it cost me about $134 US, which is a lot. That's about how much I paid for my Star Optimus Prime. And it is a pretty Star Optimus Prime figure. The size and the playability, it doesn't have the base mode, but it does the dragon thingy. I just wish the trailer transformation was a wee bit more fun and that the neck didn't have the breakage issue. Out of all the metal Cardbots I have too, it's probably my second favorite. Favorite still goes to Taki, but I do recommend this if you can get it for a reasonable price and then fix that neck. But that's my look at Heavy Iron W. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.